So tonight, I was at a meeting of a local government assembly, and a situation came up that the more and more I thought about it, the more value I think we can get out of what they worked through. And the specifics don't really matter, but the situation and the context matters a lot when I think about the idea of timing and order of operations when it comes to motions. So let me set the scene for you. This assembly has a committee. The committee is tasked with making recommendations to the full assembly, but it being local government, there's also staff involved. And the staff also make recommendations to the main assembly. So what happened was an interesting situation where the recommendation that came out of the committee was different from the recommendation that came from the staff people. So two different recommendations, and a little bit more on the context because this is kind of key to what they were dealing with. There was a decision point on a proposal to do a thing, and the decision point was step one in a multi-step required process. If you said yes to this first step, then the proposal could move to the next step. If you said no to it and the motion was defeated, then you couldn't move any further on seeing the proposal come to fruition. Now, the committee, interestingly, made a recommendation to hold a public information session that would take place prior to this decision point. So the committee's recommendation was to hold a public information session. Now, the staff, for various reasons, recommended to not hold a public information session and to move right to the decision point. Now, the public information session was optional. So it's an optional public information session that would precede a required decision point as to whether you could move forward on this proposal or not. So recommendation from the committee, hold a public information session. Recommendation from the staff to the assembly was to go right to the decision point with a motion. And it was very interesting because the way it was presented to the assembly was two recommendations, the committee recommendation and the staff recommendation. And there wasn't any thought given to the order of operations on this one. It was staff recommendation, committee recommendation. Here you go, assembly, make your choice. But as we all know, in order to make a decision, we need a motion in front of us. So a member of the assembly moved the staff recommended motion, which was to the decision point. And it became clear very quickly that most of the members of the assembly were interested in exploring the idea of this optional public information session to precede the decision point. Now they came to a compromise, a solution that, personally, not a big fan of, but they were really backed into a corner. It felt like they backed themselves into a corner based on which motion they chose to vote on first. And this is what got me thinking about timing of motions and order of operations. So here's my thought process. Here's my thought process. And I would definitely love to hear your opinion of what you think after I lay this out. So please, love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section. If it was me advising, my advice would be to take the motion that had the optional public information session first, and the assembly could vote on whether they wanted to do the optional piece, yes or no. And then they could vote on the required decision point as to whether to proceed further or not. And the way I think about this is, what are the repercussions of voting no on each of those two motions? So the repercussions of voting no on the decision point is that the decision point is defeated, the proposal goes no further and is dead. And as we know, the assemblies, your assemblies, there's a principle that once a question has been decided, it's not to come in front of the assembly again unless it's under certain conditions and bring back motions and all that sort of thing. But there's a decision on the decision point, and if it's defeated, the proposal goes away, essentially. But if we look at what the implications are with the optional public information session, because it was optional, if the assembly were to vote no, we don't want to hold a public information session prior to going to the decision point, then that's fine, because then there's still that second question on the decision point. Do you see where I'm going on this one? I think if you're faced with multiple motions, then you really need to look at what are the implications of saying no, what are the implications of defeating each and every motion, and by defeating one, does it preclude examining and considering and voting on another motion? In this case, motion A, the public information session, whether you said yes or no, you could still go to the next point, which was the decision point. But if you voted no on the decision point, then the proposal's dead. If you voted no on the information session, you can still go directly to the decision point. So I've said this, I feel like I said this 2 or 3 different ways. So I would like to hear your thoughts. Like, what do you think about timing? Do you have a way to think about order of operations that you use in your groups and assemblies, in your formal meetings, when you have multiple motions? And does it have to do with the ramifications of voting no? Does it have to do with ordering things to allow that topic to move forward in a step-by-step process and not kill it with the first question that is put in front of the assembly? I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. And also would love to hear your thoughts on my explanation, if it made sense or not, because I'm really going off script here. This is really a stream of consciousness thinking. Let me know down in the comments if this order of operations or, ramifications of a no vote is a topic that you're interested in exploring further, because maybe I can structure my thoughts a little bit better and put out a future video that may make a little bit more sense. But until now, thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought. Let me know your experiences, and can't wait to see you on the next one. Cheers.